Daniel Cates was born on November 14th, 1989 in Bowie, Maryland. He was born in an upper middle class family but did not get along with his parents that well. Even in school, he was a loner and did not have many friends. At a young age, he was addicted to playing video games, but that didn't stop him from excelling in high school and scoring in the 99th percentile on the SATs with a perfect score on the math sections. Cates started playing poker at the age of 15 with some high school friends during lunchtime where they used torn up papers as chips. When Daniel Cates was first introduced to online poker at age 17, he immediately fell in love with the game, applying a mathematical approach to it. After he graduated from high school, he attended the local University of Maryland to pursue a degree in computer science. Cates started playing No Limit Texas Hold'em online for 25-cent, 50-cent stakes and at the local casinos near the school he went to. After substantial losses both online and his local casino, he embraced reverse game selection to improve his play. By using this strategy, he would challenge all of the regulars at the local casino he visited to a few rounds of No Limit Hold'em. He would study their techniques and look up for their weaknesses so that he could come up with individual ways to beat them. It took him a while to master this strategy, so he was forced to work at McDonald's to fuel his bankroll. He started playing online with the smallest stakes at NL 5 and 10 sit-and-goes. In about a week, he started to win and began moving up the stakes. So how did Daniel Cates get the nickname Jungleman? Daniel said that his wild and crazy type of life play, coupled with him being very long-haired, led to others mocking him with the Jungleman moniker. He thought it was funny, and so the name stuck. Once his bankroll was blossoming, Daniel Cates began playing $50 buy-in heads-up cash games. He moved up to playing heads-up cash games after he realized there was a lot of money to be made there. As it would turn out, this switch ignited the quintessential rise through the poker hierarchy. It took him a couple of months to get from NL 50 to NL 200. He was running pretty hot and just wasn't losing. Even though his ascension happened rapidly, Cates rarely played above his bankroll. While Daniel was crushing the mid-stakes online, his interest in class and schoolwork was dwindling. Cates was going to class less and less. Poker was consuming his mental capabilities. His parents were letting him do his thing, although they were not happy about his grades. But Daniel had more money than anyone he knew, and that seemed pretty cool to him. A consequence of that was that he had to pay for his own tuition. This was the time when he was making real money, like 6 figures, and college became more of a burden to him. Even though Cates' ride to nosebleed stakes was relatively smooth, there was one hiccup that nearly ended his poker career. In December of 2009, Daniel Cates and Isildur I sat down for an intense heads-up battle in a single session of No Limit Hold'em at Full Tilt Poker. When it was all over, Cates had lost $500,000. After the massive hit to his bankroll, Cates did exactly what he says is crucial for poker players to do when it's necessary: moving down in stakes. After the worst downswing in his young career, Daniel went on his biggest heaters. It wasn't long before his bankroll was back to even. Daniel said that his strongest attribute to his poker success is his understanding of the game itself and how to make logical decisions. Coupled with a good memory and knowledge of how specialists play the game successfully, he was able to make adjustments which had served him strengthen his game immensely. In 2010, with his place firmly established in the high-stakes online world, Cates received an offer he could not refuse. Daniel Cates accepted Tom Dwan's $1 million challenge in August of 2010, which meant he had to play a series of No Limit Hold'em games against Tom Dwan at 200-400 for 50,000 hands. If Cates had even $1 more than Dwan by the end, Dwan would give him $1.5 million extra. This challenge had sort of a controversial ending due to Black Friday and later Tom Dwan being unavailable to play due to him playing cash games in Macau. While Daniel Cates had grabbed a sizable lead in the summer of 2010, there was plenty of hands to be played and Cates was up almost $1.2 million. It was later rumored that in 2018, the Durrrr challenge was finally over and they had both settled for an undisclosed amount. With a mountain of success and a looming 21st birthday in November, Daniel Cates decided to take an indefinite break from the University of Maryland to pursue his poker career full-time. At the end of junior year, he dropped out of college because he failed a class that was needed in order to graduate. Right after he dropped out, Daniel went to the UK to play some tournaments, and that was also the year he had won about $5 million in total, and it made him feel like the best poker player ever. CATES became a part of the so-called rich and famous almost overnight, and the young successful poker player admitted that he'd always dreamt of something like this. As for all of his tracked hands, he's up a whopping 10.2 million on his full tilt account, Jungleman12. His PokerStars screen name is Wokies. On that account, High Stakes DB has 471,000 pots tracked, and he's in the black on that side as well for $900,000. CATES has 9.9 million in live tournament earnings listed on his Hendon Mob page. They were accumulated from only 27 individual caches over the course of 11 years. That is a very small number of caches, but it makes sense if one considers that Daniel CATES has focused on online poker and cash games for most of his career. The first ITM finish on his tally comes from January of 2010 when he came in 12th in the $1,500 PokerStars Caribbean Adventure and won $9,000. In April of 2012, CATES entered the No Limit Hold'em event at the PartyPoker.com Premier League Poker 5 in Vienna. He finished runners-up to Scott Seaver, bringing home over $300,000. In 2014, he went on to win WPT's Alpha 8 No Limit Hold'em Super High Roller event for the grand prize of $500,000 after beating both Kanesh Pathar and Jason Mercier. Same year, he finished second in the EPT Super High Roller in Monte Carlo for $1.77 million. That is his biggest single live tournament cash to date. His major live tournament scores are finishing third in the Triton High Roller Series main event for $1 million in 2017, finishing 10th in the Super High Roller Bowl in Macau for $742,000 in 2018, and in August of 2019, he came in 5th in the £250,000 Triton Short Deck Hold'em event in London for $1.65 million. In 2021, CATES finally managed to win a WSOP bracelet when he took down the $50,000 Poker Players Championship, the biggest mixed game event every year, for $954,000. Apart from that victory, Jungleman has only cashed in one other WSOP event in his entire career. That was the 2015 main event, where he finished 775th out of a field of 6,420 players and earned $15,000. CATES is primarily a cash game player, and he has played in some of the biggest cash games in the world. CATES is also a frequent guest in the world's most famous cash game room, Bobby's Room in Bellagio in Las Vegas. Daniel CATES has also been part of a few scams in the poker world. In 2011, he was involved in a multi-accounting scam with Jose Macedo and Haseeb Qureshi, known as the Durrrr poker scam. Then in 2014, he was on the receiving end of a scam by David Lerner, where he was owed $1.9 million. CATES explained how he and Lerner played two $3, $6 heads-up sessions but cross-booked the action, so it played like a 300-600 game. After the first match, Lerner won $460,000, which CATES immediately transferred across. However, in the second match, CATES scooped more than $1.1 million, and instead of sending the money, his opponent went into hiding. After chasing him for the cash, Daniel eventually received $250,000, but since then, he had nothing else. The incident has left him with a bitter taste in his mouth and prompted him to call Lerner the biggest scumbag in the history of the world. Then recently in 2020, he was called out by Bill Perkins when he was caught ghosting in a private online cash game hosted by Perkins for his millionaire friends. Daniel CATES played under one of the presumed amateurs' account for a share of the profit. Since webcams had to be used in the game, CATES operated through a remote access software. Daniel CATES released a statement where he admitted to playing under the account of an unknown player named Sina Talib. CATES claims he had played very few hands against Perkins in the game. He apologized for Bill Perkins getting caught in the crossfire of multiple pros ghosting recreational players. CATES also said that he doesn't think it's fair that he is being singled out since others did the same thing. In his statement, Daniel wrote that he holds himself to a very high standard of ethics, but says that sometimes he makes mistakes and apologized for his actions. Daniel has always been interested in philosophy and writing, and as an introvert, this has helped him to develop. For CATES, the road to success was never about finding the path of least resistance. Life after full-time poker has brought new goals and aspirations. Daniel is currently exploring more creative endeavors such as becoming a producer in Hollywood and even dabbling in acting. After nearly 15 years in an isolated and oftentimes lonely world of poker, Daniel is intrigued by the allure of art and creating art with others. Outside of poker and more creative endeavors, CATES is dedicating a portion of his time and money to giving back. His first philanthropic project is working with a friend to help build schools in Zanzibar. Daniel CATES acknowledges that philanthropy is a lifelong mission and that the most important thing to do is act and make small steps